Hey class, this week we're going to be covering suspension training. Suspension training is a relatively newer concept in the fitness industry that includes essentially something hanging from the ceiling, allowing you to do a multitude or a variety of exercises using this suspension apparatus. You may all be familiar with TRX, so I'm over here in the weight room on our TRX area. Very common. We're going to break this apart and talk about how to utilize it. But I did want to mention there's also the other old school standard rings. And so you see here we've got two rings. Now one quick thing to understand the difference between really the rings and the TRX is that the rings are mounted independently. So if we scroll up here, you can see that the rings go all the way up to the ceiling there. You can see right up there, right up there. They're not connected. And then when we come back over here to TRX, what you're going to notice is when we go all the way up to the top, TRX is mounted on one strap. One strap becomes two straps. So that changes a little bit of the mechanical dynamics that you need to be aware of when you're using TRX. So we'll unpack that. First I want to start out with in particular is actually something, let me bring in a little tighter here, a concept we call sawing. This is an absolute no-no for TRX land. Sawing, so you can see here, basically this is the anchor point that hangs to the strap which goes all the way up to the ceiling. And what you'll notice here is there's a loop. And on this loop, this is nylon webbing material, so very, very strong, very durable, can hold hundreds and hundreds of pounds and a lot of force. But you've got two nylon loops essentially holding this apparatus to the anchor point. Now, sometimes what happens as you're moving arms independently down here, you invariably or inadvertently start doing what we call sawing. And you can see as my hand goes up and down here, I'm actually sawing this loop inside of this other loop. And that over time will destroy a TRX. So you want to be very conscientious to not saw, never saw. So on the quiz, when you see it is inappropriate to blank the TRX, the answer is saw. Right? So this is sawing. It goes back and forth like this. That can happen in it, again, like I said, not that someone's doing it purposefully, but let me show you how that can happen. So in this, if I'm coming back and I'm doing a row, you can see me here, it's kind of hard to see, angle it up, but here I am rowing, and let's say I'm out here and I've got some weight shift, I can inadvertently start moving my hands like this, and that would create that sawing mechanic that we don't want to do. If you go to another gym and you see that they have TRX, always look at the anchor point. You want to make sure that it's intact, meaning it hasn't frayed apart. If it's frayed apart, you really should talk to the manager, the fitness center manager or the fitness center facility to have it taken down because that's a risk for it to not be able to hold near the same amount of weight that it can hold when it's fully intact. So it's really important to make sure that you don't contribute to the deterioration of the TRX, but also if you see one that seems to be kind of worn down, ask them to replace it because they really should be from a pure safety standpoint.